And I will now call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order, October 20th, 2008. Please rise. We will have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father James McCraner, Sacred Heart Catholic Church. Pledge of Allegiance by the Police Explorers and Councilwoman Sierra. Thank you.
Ever patient God, we pray for our city of Homestead and for the people who call it home, whether we have been here for a few months or our entire lives. Forgive us when we fail to listen to each other. Forgive us when we belittle the customs or symbols or language, color or religion of our neighbors. Help us to understand that only when we bind up the broken places in each other can we hope to heal ourselves. As we gather this evening, then, we pray for the gifts of wisdom and knowledge and courage to guide our elected officials in their deliberations, so that justice and truth will guide them in their work. And for ourselves, Lord, we promise to be people of patience, generosity, and faith. Help us to keep our promises. Amen.
Amen.
I got 10 tons, can't read tons. Oh, where's Mars?
Kindly join me as we pledge our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bell?
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos? Councilman McCormick?
Here.
Councilman Nelson?
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Here.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Here. Additions, deletions, deferrals? None. Thank you. Under special presentations, first we will have Lisa Pindera of Furry Hearts presentation to Canine Dog Boomer and Councilwoman Sierra. I have it, Councilman Nelson, yes. Good evening, everybody, and thank you. My name is Lisa Ann Pindera. Sorry. This is a really great honor. Furry Hearts is a nonprofit. What I try to do is raise funds by having fundraisers to save those that really need help, primarily dogs, but I help people too. I take in the worst cases, the ones in wheelchairs. Believe it or not, they have wheelchairs. I work with other nonprofits. I have 2 blind dogs. I am a pastry chef and an actor. And that being said, we're here today because we lost an amazing person in our community. His name is John Meade. He was a federal agent. He fought for our country. He was a quartermaster at the VFW. He taught me about courage, conviction, to live for each moment that we have, and to give not expecting anything in return, and the knowledge that at least we've done something good by giving back. I believe in the same things, and that's why we're here today, because when he passed, I thought, what can we do? Because he was such a wonderful person, I wanted to honor him, because he loved people, and I love dogs, and came up with the idea for a canine vest. Now, it's not as simple as it sounds. It's very expensive. You have to have fundraisers, and I want to thank everyone here who has helped Furry Hearts, who has been supportive and believed in this and loved John. We raised the funds. Also, you have to find the dog. You have to know the breed. You have to know how much the dog weighs. And the guardian angel, I'll tell you, we have Boomer, who is our only dog here in town in our police station that didn't have a vest.
That's right.
So, and also I want to explain that canines, they do an amazing amount of work for us. They protect us, and they deserve to have a vest, each and every one of them. Boomer lives with his family, his human partner, Sergeant Tony Trad, his daughter Samantha, and his wife Renee. They live together, they love each other, and they protect us and each other. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to Boomer and Sergeant Tony Trad. Come and get your vest, baby. Just so you know, you have a great guardian angel watching out there. I get a kiss? Hey, God bless. Everyone is helped. Thank you. This is, last week we did have one of our police dogs get shot, and it was Bart, and he's doing phenomenally good. He's got a gift basket. Oh, Lisa does such amazing work, and it takes so many different people from our community to affect so many different areas. And with Lisa's love and care for beautiful dogs all over, and we, the mayor, myself, and Wendy, and I believe Councilwoman Waldman was there as well when she had the fundraiser. It was absolutely a beautiful event and very classy, like everything that Lisa does. Now, on behalf of the Homestead Police Department, Lisa, they would like to recognize and acknowledge you for your support of the K-9 Unit 2008. I don't know if Bart would like to say a few words with him. And Boomer would like to say a few words now. How about Boomer's buddy?
I'd just like to thank Lisa on behalf of the men and women, the chief, the command staff, the mayor, the vice mayor, the council, and of course the city manager for this wonderful gift. Last Monday, as you know,
yes,
some of you may know, that we did respond to a burglary in progress, and one of our canine officers with his partner confronted the burglars, and they were both shot at, and one of the dogs was hit. He's doing fine, and it just goes to punctuate how important and how generous this gift is, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for everything that you do. Lisa, before you go, I want to thank you as well, and how providential that you were slated to bring this vest here this evening, and just 1 week ago, one of our K-9 officers was shot. So I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you. I met Lisa about 1.5 years or 2 years ago through a little chef's event that we get together on, and Lisa's a fabulous chef. She's a fabulous baker, just amazing, to use Nazi's word. And I just wanted to let you know how much we do appreciate you, how much this community appreciates you. And our friend, Wendy's and my friend, fosters dogs for Lisa as well. She's a dog foster mom, so it's all in the family. Thank you so much, Lisa, for all that you do. Thank you for helping make this community, a great community, even greater. Thank you. That's great. That's a great picture. Great shot. What's the dog? Oh.
You should bring them up here where there's some room.
He knows about it. Oh, he knows. You need to walk the dog across this way, and then out. You can all see the dog. It's the model. It's beautiful. We noticed he gazed at our attorney for quite a long time. Next item on the agenda, we have a Miami-Dade College presentation on Amendment 8. Dr. Gene Jacobs, please, Dr. Jacobs. It's a pleasure to have you here this evening.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Tonight is our meeting night. We're not leaving because of the agenda, but we have our own meeting for tonight. We thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Very much, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies
And gentlemen, oh good, now that I'm on, thank you. Thank you. I have to tell you that it's also a pleasure for me to be here this evening. It's always a wonderful opportunity for me to come before you and share a little bit of information about Miami-Dade College. But importantly, I want to first thank all of you for your support of the college in this community. It has clearly been an honor for me to serve as the campus president of the Homestead campus. And having been here 3 years, I must tell you that it has been a true joy each and every day. As I've seen our campus grow, as I've seen us continue to reach out and certainly help to meet some of the workforce needs in this area and to be here to serve you. It's also been a pleasure to be part of Miami-Dade College, and many of you probably know that the college serves over 165,000 students in annual enrollment. We are known as one of the largest and most respected in the nation. So it clearly is a privilege to be here. And I'm here because I want to talk to you about something that's very, very important to the college. And it certainly will help the college maintain that history of excellence that we all know that college to have. And I know that many of you in this room have either attended Miami-Dade College or you have family or friends, that's exactly right, who have attended our college. And you know that core to our mission is the fact that we provide access to an education that many would not otherwise have an opportunity to have in higher ed. It is very critical. And so we want to continue to provide that support. And I'm asking today for your continued support and for an endorsement on Constitutional Amendment number 8. Now, Constitutional Amendment number 8, what is that? That is a statewide amendment, and it must pass in the state of Florida by 60%. This amendment simply recognizes for the first time community colleges in the Florida State Constitution. That's number one. But secondly, and I think importantly, it will authorize counties to have a local option and to put on the ballot at a future date a referendum to give voters like you and like me a choice in supporting their local community colleges. It is not a tax. It is simply to amend the Constitution to authorize counties to go forth in the future and have that local option on the ballot. So for Miami-Dade College, what would that mean? For Homestead campus, what would that mean? That would mean that we could continue to grow and provide much-needed workforce development programs and opportunities for many of our citizens and continue to hold true to our mission. So again, I appreciate that opportunity today, and I do ask for your endorsement, and I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you very much, Dr. Jacobs. And yes, we are supporting you and following the lead of the League of Cities as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm glad that you explained it like that so people understand that this is not a tax. This is not a yes on a tax. It's just yes on the ability.
Yes, it is.
So thank you very much for that.
Thank
Any questions
you.
from council for Dr. Jacobs?
Do you need a motion to...
We actually have it on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
It's an ordinance tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just thought we could do it now.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Item 5, the consent agenda. I'll now entertain a motion for approval. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
The consent agenda has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from members of the council? All in favor say aye. Aye. And the ayes carry. Thank you. Legislative matters?
An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending City Code Chapter 28 Utilities by amending Section 28251 Schedule of Electrical Rates, Section 28256 Street Lighting and Rental Outdoor Lighting Rates, Section 28292 Application Fee, Section 28294 Fees for Processing the Application, and Section 28320 Electrical Line Extension Policy and Procedure to revise rates and charges, providing for confirmation of regulatory approval, providing for inclusion of the code, severability, savings, and effective date.
I will entertain a motion for approval.
Second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from the council? Any comments or questions from the public? This is a public hearing. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? No. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Tab 8. Tab 8 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan by amending the professional mixed-use PMU land use classification to allow an increase in the maximum lot coverage pursuant to the provisions of the Local Government Comprehensive Planning Land Development Regulation Act, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Thank you. I entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move it.
I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from council for staff?
If we want to listen to them first, and then I'll ask her how...
Staff report, please.
Sure. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and member of the council. This is only a text amendment to our comp plan amendment that allows the lot coverage for the PMU area to be increased from 40% to 80%. Still, the body of the building frame still is going to be 40%, but we allow parking to go within the additional increase in the percentage of property. Just to make some references, right now the building plus the parking has to be within the 40% of the property, and a residential can be up to 55%. So it was very restrict, and we thought by allowing to increase the impervious area to 80% and keep still the building frame in 40%, we will allow some more development to come in the PMU area.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kamali. Vice Mayor?
I was just wondering what determined 80%? Is that some kind of tabulation that we came up with, or is that just a number that we thought would work for everybody, or?
That is what is allowed on the B1A and B1
So that's
in the
the
other
maximum
areas.
allowed?
Yes. But this is still going to be, the building is still going to be only 40%.
Right, but 80% of the lot can be covered now. No, I was just wondering how, I forgot, when I spoke with you, I forgot to ask you how we came up with the 80% coverage, and I was just wondering if that was something.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other comments or questions from council members?
Just one. I myself would like to see it a little bit less than that, as I'd like to see some greenery left. To me, 80% of coverage is a large amount, and I know that the building is going to stay at 40, but when we put another 40% of, for more or less the way it was explained to me, it's going to be for parking only.
Right.
It's taken away from a great deal of green space and green stuff in the city.
Well, there's nothing to say that you can't have green space within the parking.
Right,
If you
but
look at most shopping centers, as you park, there's lots of green space within that, so.
I've also noticed that the developers usually go for the maximum. Unfortunately, they don't give anything up. I mean, it's in the old days, it was a density maximum up to 10. I never saw one guy come here and say, I only wanted 8.
So that's my only preference would be that it would be a larger green space and maybe not 80% coverage.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Ms. Kamali?
Yes, indeed, for B1A, which falls under professional mixed use, they still have to meet all our requirements as far as the landscaping area, as far as the minimum setback, all of those.
But it's a smaller area that they have to meet everything in, correct?
The requirement for the parking has to go with the square footage of the building, and that's what we usually, allow them to go ahead and put in. However, whatever direction you give us, we definitely will follow, but I just wanted to make sure that the parking will go with the size of the, the square footage of the building development, and usually that comes through a site plan. It's still going to come before you, so you still have another review on every application as far as the height restriction, any other restriction that you would like to put on that site plan.
Thank you. Ms. Kamali?
Yes.
Within this 20%, because I know in the PUDs, when we're talking about the plan unit development, we're pretty much talking about residential. We had a 35% lot coverage of green space, and that particularly varied. But when you're talking about 20%, you're talking about 40% of building, 40% of parking. That does not preclude that the parking...
No, it's just in previous area is going to be 80%. That is the maximum. Right. That doesn't mean they are going to go ahead and, but it just allows that you can put parking within that 40%. Right now, the building and the parking is 40% of the property. Now we are saying the building can be 40%, and you can go additional 40% for the park.
But I understand that the point I'm trying to make is when this comes back to this council, when you have an item like this that comes back to this council, we can restrict that. We don't have to accept, the point I'm trying to make is we don't have to allow the full 80%. We have discretion on the council. Plus, can't we require to have landscaping within the parking, kind of like you see in many shopping centers here? Because very often when you go into a shopping center and you pull your cart, there's lots of shade trees within the parking lot. So just because you have 20% of green space on the outskirts, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have green space on the inside. So I understand your point, I understand your comment, and it's a good one, but I'm trying to say it doesn't preclude that you're not going to have green space within the parking.
Every site plan is still going to come before you for your review and comments.
Thank you. Mr. Shahada.
Mayor, council members, but Sherry and James, correct me if I'm wrong, when Sherry explains the 40% maximum for a building and you have another 40 for other previous services, that will include paved areas, sidewalks, parking, concreted parking driveways and stuff like that. So really in previous services by definition cannot be anything with the plants, but in terms of aesthetics and like the mayor was referring to with islands in the parking lots, definitely that can add to the greenery of the area and the looks in terms of aesthetics. However, if you want to instruct us, there is a second reading. If you want to instruct us to lower it, I mean, that's something doable too.
Let's get the pleasure of the council. Mr. Nelson?
Yes, this is in the professional mixed use. This is in a residential area.
Right.
80% is way too much. I drive into Hialeah and I see that. That's not what we're about. We're about small towns. We're about, what it was back when, I don't think this is for us. 80% is a little too much. 50 to 60. Thank you.
Could I just ask for clarification? When they build the islands, as the mayor has spoken about, with the trees in the middle, that would be considered part of their 20%?
Part of the 40.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get clarified. Would that be part of their 20% of green space because it isn't, because it is left natural, or would that fall under the 40% for the parking lot and everything?
Our code requires when we do have parking, you cannot have more than 8 parking without having some landscaping.
Right.
So that's a requirement that we have in our code.
Right, but does an island, and James, you may, I don't know, but does that island, where does that fall under when you count that?
That falls under landscaping requirement.
So that would come under the 20% already?
That will go under the landscaping,
right.
Yes.
Under the landscaping requirement, but there's a landscaping requirement within the 20%, there's a landscaping requirement within the 80% as well.
Well, I have to clarify this, but my understanding would be within the parking lot requirement, so that, because that requirement is for the parking lot.
Right, that's what we're trying to get clear here tonight, to understand that. I want to understand that as well. Right. So, because my understanding was that the 20% green space plus whatever is composed inside of the parking as well. I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Lobos.
I have a question based on some of the comments that have been made from my fellow councilmen. At what percentage, obviously we're going for a look, it's aesthetics. We're trying not to lose the green visual that you would see as you're going by one of these sites. As professionals, at what percentage do you see a significant reduction in the visual green space that you would see driving by? If you have it at 80 and you lower it to 75, to 70, at what point do you get the target percentage to be able to affect the aesthetics of what it would look like?
Let me be specific.
If we're throwing percentages around and we're trying to reach a goal, I think that it needs to be an educated percentage, just not a reduction, because 75 is less than 80.
Can we
because
have
70 is less than 80. Would that meet the goal that some of the councilmen's concerns are with?
I think a visual would be very good here.
Mayor, Councilmember, may I just add my 5 cents?
You may.
That's really very good question, and the answer depends on how much you have in terms of, when people are passing by an area, they're not looking at how much is percentage cover or not, they're looking at visual, what can I see on that parking lot. If you have lush landscape in the entrance to the parking lot, you have tree coverage on the parking lot, that's going to give the impression, even if it's 20%, this is really a very green place. If you're going to have, of course, they have to meet the landscape requirements, but if you're going to have, some sick trees there and very skinny trees and some grass, even if you have it as 40% landscaping, it's going to look like there's not enough coverage. So
and we have very good and strict landscape requirements. What is the percentage of the lot coverage, let's say, of the BJ's, where you drive by and you see all the lush landscaping on the outskirts? Do we know that? I'm trying to get a visual here.
I am so sorry. That is before my time, and I don't remember. But every site, every site plan that comes to you, you can review it, and if you want, we can go back and reduce it. If you want, you still have, when the site plan comes before you, you still can make any comments, whatever direction you gave us, we definitely would follow. James.
Just going to add to what Sherry said. I think the BJ's, that future land use is light commercial or some type of commercial, and your commercial future land use classifications allow for up to 80%, a maximum of 80% lot coverage. So this would not be inconsistent with what you already have established for your other commercial districts. It would just be bringing it up to line with those commercial districts.
I got it.
The only thing I would like to add, BJ was built before our landscaping ordinance too, so maybe it's not as our requirement are today.
Because we stepped our landscape requirements up a bit since then.
We did it after. Yes, we brought that ordinance before after BJ was constructed.
Okay.
Mayor, just say something.
1 second. Councilwoman Lobos and then the manager.
I think that if we were to pass this tonight and we would go with what the mayor was saying, that as the site plan comes, that we would then decide at that point. I think that sometime between now and then, we need visual comparisons so that we know what percentage we're talking about. If that's the approach, if that's the solution to some of the comments that are being brought up tonight, I think that going forward, before we tackle any applicants that come before us with a site plan, we need to visually understand the percentages that have been proposed here tonight.
I'm going to make a recommendation, since this just is first reading, that I'm going to make a recommendation that we go ahead and approve it on first reading. We have some visuals when we come back for second reading, so we can actually see what we're voting on. If we don't like it, we can vote it down on second reading. So we can actually see it. This is a visual group, so.
Can I just say one more thing?
Oh, I think
I'm sorry, Manager.
And then Vice Mayor.
Mayor, council members, I was just going to say, when we have, actually with the restriction, it's up to 80%, you have two triggers of restriction. One is the size of the building, 40%, and the other 40, which is for the parking lot and other improvements around the building, is really a function of the size of the building. The number of parking lots and all that stuff. And I can tell you, developers, normally they try to have the minimum amount of parking spaces, not the maximum amount. And if they don't need the 40%, I promise you they're not going to put the 40% additional lot coverage.
I see. Thank you. That's a good point. Vice Mayor?
The only comment I wanted to make was, I know that we get this when it comes back before us, but then we always get into another argument, and it seems like a lot of times we concede our point if we get back to that point. So that's my, I know we get it back before us at the site plan, but then we get the developer or whomever, the landowner over there, arguing with us about it, and we end up at some point conceding back, and they end up getting something that we may not really have wanted, but because that's what it says in our books, now they got it, and it's hard for us to fight them. And if they're, I could ask Richard, but if they're given that, it's hard for us, when they get to that point, they've spent so much money and investment at that already, that I think it would be hard for us to say, no, we're going to cut you back and you can't do that.
But Vice Mayor, the point, I think the manager made a very good point, that when you have the parking spaces are based on the size of the building that's being built on the 40%, a developer's not going to want to put in the maximum amount of spaces because that costs him more money. He's going to want to put in the minimum amount of spaces, which is going to open up more green space, because they're not going to want to pay X thousands amount of dollars per parking space if they don't have to. So then you're going to have that as space. And I just, I'm comfortable because I know of the landscaping requirements within the city of Homestead. I know the requirements that we have are very healthy, they're very good, and not only the landscaping requirements, but the standards of the size of the trees and the plants and the shrubbery that they have to put in. So I'm comfortable with that, knowing the standards that we have, but I want the council to be comfortable. So whatever the pleasure of the council is. And, Mr. Manager, and then Ms. Lobos.
Mayor, council members, I like your idea. What we will do is look at the areas around the city and actually take pictures and take, hopefully we have aerial photos for them also, and we show you both sides and percentages and see how's your comfort level.
And if we don't like it, we can vote it down on second reading.
Absolutely.
Very good. Councilwoman Lobos.
Yeah, Mayor Bell, I just wanted to say that tonight I'm not comfortable voting with a proposal of any percentage less than 80, just because I don't know what that translates to. So for tonight, I'm comfortable with what's before us. But I do take on the Vice Mayor's second point that if at second reading we do not like 80%, I think that it would be wise at that time to pursue a lesser percentage. If this council has no intention of ever approving anything at 80%, then I think just like we've done with the dwellings per acre, that we should minimize or decrease the percentage at that time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the conversation. I think it would be very healthy for this council to have an actual visual of actually what does it mean, what is 80%, what's 60%, what's 70%, and then we can move forward. Any comments or questions from the public? This is a public hearing. We will now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
No.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
I'll vote yes, but it better be good at the next meeting.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolutions?
Yes, moving on to tab 9. Tab 9 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the Stonegate Community Development District, CDD, to exercise those powers set forth in Section 190.0122A Florida statutes to plan, establish, acquire, construct, reconstruct, enlarge, or extend, equip, operate, and maintain additional systems and facilities for parks and facilities for indoor and outdoor recreational, cultural, and educational uses, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion. I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Ms. Kamali, would you like to explain this to us, please?
Actually, Mr. White is going to go through this item.
You did such a good job the other day, sir.
This is a request from the Stonegate Community Development District, the CDD. requesting from you all to consent to an expansion of their powers, and that would be to expand, to allow them the authority to their recreational powers. Back in September 3rd of 2002, this CDD, you all consented to its creation. At that point. If you recall, that was the point at which was the start of a lot of the PUDs coming in, the big PUDs, and these CDDs were created as a mechanism whereby a lot of the roadways, the public facilities, the infrastructure was built and constructed, and those developments or the units in those developments would pay over time for those structures. So the burden wasn't on the city or the taxpayers to construct the facilities and the roadway systems in these big PUDs. You all approved the CDD, the Stonegate CDD, in 2002, or consented to its approval. It then went to the county, got blessed at the county. The county authorized the CDD, its creation. It was created, it formed, it built all the roadways, a lot of the infrastructure within the Malibu Bay PUD. And so now, at that time, it did not include any powers to deal with recreational facilities or take over ownership of a clubhouse or deal with the maintenance of those properties. The situation is now before you with respect to the residents and that clubhouse and that recreational property within that CDD. Currently, the property and the clubhouse is still owned by the joint venture, the developer, and the HOA for Malibu Bay has the ability to an option to purchase that recreational tract and that clubhouse. Unfortunately, they're in a situation right now where that's just not financially, it's not financially feasible for them to do so. So they have had discussions and talked with the CDD. The CDD is an entity that was formed, is able to do this type of transaction, and is willing to do it. There's a memorandum of understanding between the HOA and the CDD, whereby the CDD has agreed to purchase, to own, and to operate the clubhouse, to provide those ongoing services to the residents of the Malibu Bay PUD. One of the important things to note for you all is that when we established these PUDs as part of the HOA docs, one of the things that we were very careful of in the platting regulations is that there would be some mechanism in place for these big developments that there would always be an entity who would maintain and take care of that infrastructure in those clubhouse or recreational facilities, so that the burden would then not fall back on the city or the taxpayers to have to go in and operate those. So oftentimes there's the HOA, the CDD, or some other entity or dormant special taxing district that would kick in to take care of those recreational facilities. So the request before you tonight is by the CDD. The CDD representative is here to answer any questions that you may have, but it's simply for you to authorize them to have these recreational powers. And if you do so, the result would be that they would then purchase the recreational facility from the joint venture, and they would float bonds for a period of 30 years for the purchase and also on the maintenance of that. What's also important to note is that that would then be switched to the implications of your consent would then result in all of the HOA, the membership dues for the clubhouse, and the purchase of that would then be shifted to the tax bill for all the residents in the Malibu Bay. And if you have specific questions with respect to what that tax bill would be, the representative from the CDD is here to answer those questions for you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I have some information on this as well.
We have a motion? We need a motion for approval.
I move it.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes, I actually went to the CDD meeting when they were discussing this a couple weeks ago. I was invited by Ms. Monica Whitaker. And what has occurred with this particular community, unlike the Waterstone community, where we were given our clubhouses in Malibu Bay as well as Oasis, the homeowners do not own the clubhouses and are currently paying a monthly fee to be able to use the clubhouses. So what has occurred is that since the HOAs currently do not have the funding to purchase the clubhouse and get rid of this additional fee that they're paying monthly anyways, the CDD has decided to step in and purchase the clubhouse. And yes, the homeowners will be paying through their HOAs an additional fee, but in the long run it's less than what they are currently paying, as well as the fact that they will then own the clubhouse and the recreational facilities. And it's absolutely gorgeous clubhouse, by the way.
Thank you very much for the explanation, Councilwoman Sierra. Any comments, questions from council?
I have one question then.
Councilwoman Waldman?
We are the final say tonight, correct? I mean, if we pass this, then they will go forward.
Correct. If you consent to, pursuant to state statute, you have to consent to expanding those powers in order for the CDD to be able to move forward with that transaction.
And I'm not sure...
Sorry, it has to go to the county after we're through with it, doesn't it?
Right.
Does not have to go to the county? The first one was approved by the county and this one does not? Okay.
I thought when we did this back years ago that if this ever came to pass, that it would come to us and then it would move, you would follow through with going ahead and doing the transaction, correct? Okay. My question is, have the homeowners been made aware of this? Do they know what's happening? Do you know, Ms. Sierra?
According to the meeting that I was at, yes, the homeowners have been informed, and it's a more viable option than what they currently have. As I don't know the exact dollar figures that they're currently paying, but this will actually be less for them, and they're actually purchasing a property within their community.
Okay. My concern was just that they had been informed and made aware of, because once they do this, then they likely will not be able to go back and purchase it back from you. So this is very important.
Mr. Shahada?
But again, Mayor and council members, when this issue first came about, I received a call from Omar Fonte there, and for this clubhouse practically... Sorry?
I'm sorry, who did you receive?
Omar Fonte there.
Oh, Omar. I didn't see him.
I ask all these questions because, really what they're coming through now to the city for is just go through the legal formalities. Right. But it was initiated, that's his answers to me. It's initiated by the community, and they want to put this clubhouse for use, and this was the only way they can put it for use. And we are really just going through the legal process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Waltman. Any other comments or questions from council?
Mayor Bell, I have a question. Are they going to make a presentation, or are they just questions?
Would the applicant like to go to the podium for questions?
We're available for any questions.
Thank you. You have a question?
Well, no, I just wanted to know whether they were going to make a formal presentation or whether we were going to, are you just here for questions?
Your staff has done such a fine job on this. I think they've explained the entire purpose, that the homeowner association has in fact adopted the board of directors a resolution. By the way, my name is Michael Riddell, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, representing the Stonegate Joint Venture, the Stonegate Community Development District. The homeowner association has adopted a resolution supporting this memorandum of understanding that would provide for the CDD to own, operate, and maintain the clubhouse facilities for the benefit of the Malibu Bay community. So if you'd like, I can give you a copy of that resolution, but that's available. That was provided to staff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilwoman.
I just have one comment, Mayor Bell.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was there last October at their clubhouse for the grand opening, and it's such a beautiful facility. But one of the things that always stuck in my mind was the representative that was there did say this: in order for this clubhouse to be given to the residents, to the homeowners association, I mean, it was just an astronomical number that they would never be able to put together to own their own clubhouse. So I think this is a great solution to that. If they're paying a monthly fee to utilize it, might as well make a payment to own it rather than how they're doing it now. So I support this.
Thank you very much. I concur. I also went to the grand opening of this clubhouse, and it has got to be one of the most beautiful clubhouses I think I've ever been in. And then there was a workshop there as well that we attended with many realtors, actually. It was a realtors workshop. So Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions from council? Public hearing, any comments or questions from the public? We'll close the public hearing. We have a resolution before us. All in favor say aye. Aye. And the ayes carry. All opposed? The ayes carry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next resolution.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, supporting Constitutional Amendment 8, Local Option Community College Funding, an initiative contained in November 4th, 2008 general election ballot, and urging all electors to support educational funding for their community colleges.
I'll move it, Mayor.
I'll second it.
The item's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from council? Any comments or questions from the public? Thank you very much. All in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes carry. Thank you so much. We now open the floor for public comments.
Good night. Mike Taylor, 1480 Northeast 10th Street, Homestead. I was here a couple of weeks back for a meeting with the Mayor Bell. Suggested that we have a meeting in the back. Up until now, that meeting hasn't concurred. But in the midst of all that, I gave everybody up here one of those brown envelopes because I want everybody to see what I was doing in the Southwest and what I used that money to do. So I want to know if the members of the council, did anybody look at that package I gave them? Nobody did?
Yeah, I looked at it. Yep, me too.
And and I'm trying to show the proceeds of those money, that's where that goes. And then again, what I was trying to say is that I got 8 more days or something like that before they foreclose on the house. And Mayor Bell, there's a crisis in Washington, there's a crisis in America. And I mean, if there's a way that we could that this house could resolve before it goes into foreclosure, I mean, I would appreciate it, considering that there was a verbal agreement between me and the past economic development.
Rick Stotts.
Yeah, Rick Stouts, that I went out and made the model. I went out and do the architectural drawing for the model. That was my end of the bargain, paying for all that, paying for the land testing, paying for the permit. I mean, paying for the fee. I mean, the impact fee and all that. That was my entity of it. Then the house was supposed to bid, it's just a policy decision. All I'm asking is that I could sell the house to anybody. There is no low income or moderate income individual is getting any loan now from anybody. And I mean,
go ahead.
I'm not finished yet. So I mean, in other words, what I'm saying is, I just want the public to know, because there's a bunch of people waiting right now for me to recertify them in the construction trade, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it because the funds is not there. And I don't never come to this council or anybody and ask for any funds. What I do is the proceeds from the house and the training from what I do, that's what I take to maintain, the integrity of my program that I have there. Mayor Bell, 6th Avenue, 8th Street, the Southwest section, they're here. Let me tell the people in the Southwest section, many of them got little infractions against them. Probably get busted with marijuana or something back then. They cannot be bonded, so they can't get a job at McDonald's. And I'm just saying, Mayor Bell, so I got to get them in the construction industry. When I left the city of Homestead.
Mike, thank you. You're mixing two issues.
No, but it's not two issues, Mayor, but if you listen to me.
Mike, your time is up. I'm going to let the manager and the attorneys answer. Your time is up. Just 1 moment.
Yes, we'll be up shortly too.
Mayor, council members, unfortunately, I'm going to say something Mike is not going to like. Again, like I told Mike last time, it's Mike, I love you, but it's issue driven. It's not personality. We exhausted everything we can look at. We listened to every proposal they submitted to us. Mayor, I have to tell you, we spent $5,600 on this legal fees and about 30 hours of staff time. So I don't think anybody can accuse us of not working on this issue. Dan and the city attorneys, we really can't.
We've had a meeting.
Every time we look at an issue, we come to a dead end, short of just saying, go ahead, we're giving you the lot, which I will not recommend.
But you need to explain that there was a contract about the house.
Sure.
You need to explain that because now that it's been brought to the public needs to understand what's happening.
Yeah, just for the knowledge of the public, there was a lot given to this entity with the understanding they go to sell it for a low income. There are restrictions on income, and it starts with the Southwest, then City of Homestead, then the area. And of course, when they go to sell it, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, it stays, if they keep the ownership for 10 years, then there's a lien on the property for the value of the lot. And the assessed value of the lot is about $70,000. Of course, the market is not going well for Mike, as it's not going well for anybody else. And Mike came to us to look at alternatives. I can tell you we explore every single alternative that came to our attention. And I have Richard here. Richard called me and said, Mike, there is nothing legally we can explore that we did not. So it's like, stop the bleeding practically. And it comes back to the issues like, really the only solution is just say, okay, we give you the lot, that's the only way we can deal with it. I can't tell you at this point, we would be wasting our money to keep exploring it. And if the attorney likes to say something different, and I'd be happy to.
Mr. Weiss?
Yeah, I just, the only thing that I would add is that I do really feel like that between ourselves and staff, we did try to come up with whatever options we could to try to work with Mike on this. And as manager said, I think that short of basically, basically eliminating the whole purpose of what we were doing, and eliminating this restriction totally, we really didn't think that, obviously you can do whatever you want with it, but in keeping with what we were trying to do with the program, we really didn't feel like there were any options that we didn't explore that really worked.
Which is in order for the forgiveness of the value of the property, it had to go to somebody in low income. If it didn't go to somebody who was low income, then the value of the property was going to have to be paid. Correct. And that's the argument here. We had a contractual agreement that we can't violate. So I want people to understand what's happening.
Can I respond?
Mayor, is the question, Mayor?
Can I respond?
Briefly.
Yes, it's going to be briefly. There was no such thing that there was a dollar value in this contract. You haven't seen the contract. There's no dollar value in the contract. We're going to put an agreed amount on the contract, and we're going to agree to that to the individual that purchases. The economy went down. It's not that we couldn't find buyers. It's just that we couldn't find nobody to purchase it. The bank would loan the low-income people. And I mean, I haven't had a meeting to explain the agreements that me and Rick Stout has. You asked me to have a meeting. I didn't have that meeting yet.
I had a meeting with you, and we brought the...
You told me, Mike, and the lawyer should have a meeting. That was the last time I talked to you, Mayor Bell.
You and I...
Mayor Bell, I know that. But last time you said me to have a meeting with Mike.
Don't overtalk. 1 second, please.
Yeah, but I have the floor. Mayor Bell. You gave me the floor.
You have the floor. You have the floor. Just 1 moment. Mr. Shahada.
Mayor, when Mr. Taylor came
Mr. Taylor, if you speak out of turn, again, I'm going to have to ask you to sit down. 1 moment, please. You had your 3 minutes, and we're being very gracious by allowing you to stand up. Mr. Taylor, you had your 3 minutes, and we're being very gracious by allowing this conversation to continue in the public. So 1 moment, please. Mr. Shahada.
Mayor, council members, when you told me last time to work with Mike Taylor, immediately I instructed Dan, and Richard can tell you, to work with Mike Taylor. We requested a letter from Mike Taylor to tell us exactly what his request is, because we want to send it to the attorneys and start working on it. I can tell you we did not get the letter. The attorney and Dan had to go and talk to his partners to be able to get the letter, and practically the proposal that was submitted in front of you verbally did not make it in writing. And Mayor, it's true, I did not meet with Mike Taylor personally to go over this, but I have staff. I have 10 department heads. They are capable of resolving issues. Richard has staff, and if every single issue I'm going to be dealing with it by myself, Mayor, then we need like 6 city managers.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Walden, please.
Me first? Okay, thank you. My question was, and I think we talked briefly about this before, are you holding the value as the value of the property how long ago was it? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Or 3 years ago? Are you holding that same value? Because I know Sue and I will both agree in the real estate market, I mean, assessed value means nothing in today's market. And banks are lowering, they're willing to take so much lower. We're doing short sales, we're doing foreclosures like crazy, and I tried to do comps to see if I could find anything that would be comparable to the price, and I can't.
I can tell you the value we mentioned is the assessed value when Mike came to talk to us. It's the assessed value, it's not the original price of the lot. Then look at the Dade County tax assessment, and that was the value of the property. And let me tell you how flexible we are. We even said if you want to go, and I think there was a time where his partner proposed to buy it or something. I said if your partner is going to buy it under the same conditions, with the understanding it's going to be sold to somebody under the same conditions of the original contract, we have no problem with it. However, because his partner is not eligible for this activity, we said you put a letter of credit with the city, or you put the money in escrow until it's sold to somebody who's eligible for the income limitations under the original contract, and then we revert back to the original contract. They didn't want to do that. Councilwoman.
But Mike, I understand what you're saying, but I can also tell you that just being out there every day, that there's not a bank that I know of that would loan that amount of money on that particular property because it wouldn't appraise. Now maybe do you have other figures that I don't have, Dan? I mean I have quite a bit of things available to me, and I've checked it, and there's nothing. I mean, even if there was somebody today wanting to buy that property, it would not appraise for that, and they would not be able to get a loan. So I'm concerned.
I completely understand, but it's just really how do you sell it? How do we? It's really, we have a contract, original contract. And if you're going to go and give it for less than what the original contract talked about, even though it didn't talk about price, but just given a lot, I can tell you, and I have to choose my words, when we start first looking at this, I can tell you that our attorneys are a great firm, and they normally look at the legal issues only. I can tell you I received a call from two of the attorneys, that's Lillian Durango and David Wubin, telling me, we warn you because this is exactly what happened in the housing department in Dade County in terms of public relations. And if you're going to just, frankly speaking, have like a shell game, you're going to bring very serious problem to your city council. And, we could give him the lot. I know if this body, wants me to do that, it's something, but I can tell you it's very difficult issue. I feel for Mike, but it's just, it's very difficult.
Mike, you're not giving me the lot. I just want the policy to change so I can sell it to anybody. You're not giving me the lot, Mike. I also have 2 more lots to lose along with it. So you're not giving me the lot. I just want to change the policy that I can sell it to anybody. That's all I'm asking. Not the low income. That's all I'm asking. And that's the issue.
Mr. McCormick.
I have a question for the city attorney. Is it an illegal process, because on the deed restriction, I believe it says it has to be on low income and a first-time home buyer, and I would like to know if that's possible for us to change that for this situation.
Yeah, I hate to put this back on you. The answer, is it possible? Yes. Is it what the contract said? No. And what we were concerned about, and we really, I think, bent over backwards to try to work with Mike and to help Mike on this, but we're concerned about is that there was a particular program that was done to try to help a first-time home buyer, a low-income, and by releasing that deed restriction, it means that I could come along and buy that piece of property. That's what it means. I mean, I certainly am not an underprivileged individual or a first-time home buyer. It means anybody can buy. That's what he wants. He really wants for anybody to be able to buy this piece of property.
It's not anybody. There's a person that want to buy one of the workers in it, a low-income family in it. And You know, and it's not anybody want to buy it. It's just a businessman, the community want to buy it to put one of their workers in it. And all I'm asking is a policy decision. I ask the council to see with me. I mean, and this individual been good to the city and work with all of us all the time. That's all I'm asking.
I think we did offer a solution for that, though, by the way.
No, we didn't.
We even looked at a swap of property. We spoke to, I think his name was Mr. Griffin, Dean Griffin.
Yeah.
We spoke to him a swap of property. There was, and what was proposed at one point was that Mr. Griffin buy the property.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, I was saying that we could do that. I mean, whatever I could do with the help of the council just to redeem the two properties, that's all I'm asking for. Help and assistance.
I have a question, Mayor.
Ms. Lobos has a question, and Mr. McCormick then has a comment.
Mr. Shahada, from what you've said, one of the solutions that you offered Mr. Taylor was for him to sell it as long as the deed restriction went along with it, so that if he would sell it to another person, that person, not being first-time home buyer or anything like that, would be able to buy it as long as that lot still carried the deed restriction, that it would be for a first-time home buyer or an eligible low-income buyer. Is that what you just said?
Actually, what I said, most of it is right, but there was one step in between. The person who was going to buy it in between is somebody who's not eligible for this purchase.
Not eligible because of the first-time home buyer?
Yes, because he doesn't have, his income is not in compliance with the contract.
Okay.
So if he was going to sell it to somebody under the same conditions of the contract, there is no...
There was no problem. No problem.
We were adding a plausible...
A step in between.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. As I understand this, Mr. Taylor, and I'm sorry that it's being all discussed in public, but I'm going to tell you, your attorney, Mayor Wallace, called me to discuss this issue. This is how I understand this. And my position that I'm taking tonight is because it's to protect the citizens of this city. The way business was done before, with this loose clause and interpretation, it is not going to be, not from me. If this council wants to vote that way, be it their business. I will not vote that way. I have to tell you, how I understand it is, this lot was given to you to sell to a first-time home buyer to alleviate a family that could not afford a market value property, right? So this was the whole premise. Now, what you're saying is that you have not been able to find a buyer under that first-time home buyer.
Since the market changed.
Since the market changed, you have not been able to buy. So now what you want us to do is to release you to be able to just, then it no longer becomes the affordable housing program. Now it's just a business transaction. Since we gave you the lot, help me to understand this. You sell it without restrictions. What does the city of Homestead get in return for the lot that we gave you for that affordable housing program?
That's one of the things I want to bring up. Because if we can take that restriction off, and all parties are willing to agree that if the house sells for what he's trying to sell it for, and I believe it's $225, then
it can't sell for that no more.
So what is the seller have? What he's trying to buy the house for?
What I'm trying to avert, Mayor, give me a minute. What I'm trying to avert is just to avert the foreclosure. I put the foreclosure on everybody's thing. The foreclosure is on the 28th, which is next week. All I'm trying to do is avert that so I can get the two lots back and it doesn't go to anybody. It's going to be gone. I mean, whether I take it or somebody else.
But Mike, we cannot be in the city land giveaway business.
I understand that.
We can't do that.
So the bank's going to take it then?
We can't just give away
the bank is going to take it, find out.
You can't even close 8 days. You can entitle all the work done in 8 days.
No, there's a foreclosure, but the bank is going to take it.
But
I think he's asking for a stay. May I ask one more question, Mayor?
I think Mr. McCormick and then Ms. Waldman.
What I'm trying to say is, evidently the price of the house has changed since the last time we talked, evidently. But whatever the price that you're trying to sell it for, the property assessed can go to the city of Homestead, and then if you walk away with absolutely nothing, then you walk away with nothing, but you will still be able to hold your other lots, and you just walk away broke even instead of losing everything. So my suggestion would be that whatever the property is worth, if it's worth $30,000, $70,000, whatever the property itself is worth, without the price of the house being built, you give that balance of the money back to the city. And I don't know if that'll go into a CRA account or a city general fund. I don't know whatever go for the city. And then you just walk away with whatever the balance of that would be, and then that way your hands will be free instead of everything going to court.
Yeah, Councilmember Conlon, I haven't been paying the mortgage on this house because I don't have the money. So the financier, the loan, the bank is going to take it. So the city is going to lose a lot, and I'm going to lose mine too.
Mr.
Yeah, but to clarify, even in foreclosure, the deed restriction that we put on the property stays. And I think when the bank started to foreclose on this property, I mean, our real estate people said to me, they're foreclosing on the property. How many days is it going to be before they call us and say, what about this restriction? And it took about 4 or 5 days, and they called us and we said, yes, there's a deed restriction on this property, and even if there's a foreclosure, that deed restriction stays with the property. So we don't need to do anything in terms of preserving that deed restriction, if that's what you want to do.
Thank you. First, Councilwoman Waldman, and then Mr. Shahada.
Let me see if I remember this all right. Weren't there a couple of other lots involved as collateral on this?
Yeah.
That's my concern.
The two lots I have is collateral.
Mr. Shahada and Mr. Weiss, is if we could somehow take into consideration, I mean, would that jeopardize anything contractually to release the other lots for a lesser value? I mean, because you're using those lots at the high-end value, correct? And that was used as collateral. So, Mr. McCormick, your question was, what would the city get back? Right now, who's going to get those other lots? If this is foreclosed on, what happens to everyone?
When we spoke to Mr.
You get it all. The city gets it all.
When we spoke to Mr. Griffin around the 23rd of September, he told us that the proposal for a swap or exchange was not viable anymore. That's what
yes, because Don Wick told me there was a deed on the 2 lots that I couldn't do it. I didn't know I couldn't. There's a deed that's restriction on the other 2 lots that proceeds from the lots goes to the west. So,
okay, I'm gonna.
I have one more comment here. That's okay.
Yeah, Mr. Shahada, then Councilman Lobos, and I'm closing the discussion.
Just to really, we did explore the lots, but the lots again, now they are part of the full closure, and also they have. These lots, by understanding, Binky Mons had something, contribution or did something, and they have...
Who did?
Binky Mons, and he has some restrictions on these lots, how they can be used. Dan, you could articulate it if you like.
Back several years ago, the CRA sold Binky Mons 5 lots. Those 5 lots he was going to build on them. Unfortunately, he did not build on them, so he donated them to the nonprofit that Mike Taylor is associated with. There is deed restrictions on those 5 lots per Pinky. They have to be built low-income families. So there is deed restriction on those 2 lots, and that's the problem I'm having, because we're going to get 2 more lots.
Regarding Mr. McCormick's question about, releasing the lien, and Richard explained it, but I would also say that this is the option where we said, we'll be happy to do something, but you have to give us a collateral. We cannot just say, okay, you trust us and we trust you, go ahead and sell it. Because frankly speaking, based on what Mike is telling us, he's not going to be able maybe to even get the money for the amount of the mortgage.
No,
but then our lot there's no collateral, there's no additional income from the sale that's going to pay for our lot. So our lot will just go away.
No, Mike, that's not the way.
Ms. Lobos?
I'm sorry, I just have to tell you so that you know where I stand, so you don't, keep guessing how I'm going to go on this issue. I agreed with the mayor last time to give you the benefit of the meetings and to try to resolve something. As a councilwoman, I am not going to interfere. If the staff is telling me, and the city attorney and the CRA director are telling me that this is not doable, that they're not going to be able to do this, as a councilwoman, I'm not going to intervene in that transaction. This is very complex. It has a lot of details. The city manager, staff, the attorneys, the CRA director, they've all looked at it in detail. I am comfortable with what they've come back and said now. They're sitting here. I'm not going to say anything from the dais that's going to say, let's vote to save this lot, because that's not just... I don't think it should be a council person's business to intervene at that level if the staff has already recommended something. So that's where I stand.
It would be a very, very bad
When I talked to the attorney, he said it was a policy decision, and that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Other than that.
I'm going to let you know. Thank you very much. We're going to close discussion on this item. But the City of Homestead has spent almost $6,000 exploring every avenue to help out Mr. Taylor. We've tried. We've been over backwards. We really have tried. It's exhausted. We cannot just give away a city asset. We can't do it. We just can't do it. So anyway, I'm going to close discussion on this item. Mr. Taylor, I'm very sorry for you. I am. It's just something that it's just policy. It's just policy.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I also want to let you know, I was the one that made the model for the Southwest section. Over $12,000 those architects cost me.
Thank you very much.
So I want to put that on the record.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Thank you. We will now, business from the city manager.
Mayor, council members, I don't really have any business, but last Thursday was the Bosses' Day, and I want to wish all my bosses belated Bosses' Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we have reports of the mayor and council, I just want to say, you know, we are still paying the price, I will say, in this council from some of the previous decisions from previous directors and some things that were probably not done well. And I want to make it very, very clear that because things were done badly in the past does not mean we're going to continue repeating them. That this is a new day with this council, and we're going to move forward and do things appropriately and ethically and up front. And I know that we exhausted every avenue to do everything on this particular issue, but it's just a reflection of the way things were done in the past, and they're not going to be done that way anymore in the future. So I just wanted to reflect that. Councilwoman Sierra. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to start off by saying happy anniversary to Mayor Bell and Mr. Mark Bell. Today is their anniversary, wedding anniversary. So I told him I'd wait. He's probably watching the meeting on the computer. Happy anniversary, honey. 24 years, by the way. That was going to be my next question. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening with your husband and family. I'd like to mention that we have one opening still for the Tourism Committee. If someone is interested, please send an email to myself and or Ms. Lauren Yoder. There's one already. Excuse me. This morning, the mayor, Councilwoman Lobos, City Manager Mike Shahada, the new school board member Dr. Larry Feldman, and I had a meeting with the new Miami-Dade County School Board Superintendent, Alberto Carvalho. I messed that up, I'm sorry. We had an opportunity to listen to Mr. Carvalho's plans for our school. I left the meeting feeling that he did have a great commitment to our city, and we should be expecting great things to come from this. We also had an opportunity to share our vision with him and letting him know how important our 27,000 children from the city of Homestead are to us. Education of our children is an extremely important and very serious task, and we're going to, as Councilwoman Lobos put it, be part of the solution and not just part of the problem. We're really getting involved. Real Men Read Homestead Middle School is on Thursday, November 13th from 7:30 to 9 a.m. And the last thing I would like to mention is that today, Ms. Shedd, today started early voting. It will take place from October 20th to November 2nd. Early voting sites are open, most of them are open from Monday through Friday during regular working hours. I believe, Ms. Shedd, we have some copies of the schedule in the back, so if anybody's interested in getting that, we also see it on the screen. If getting to the polls is something that's difficult for you on actual election days, you do have options. They are open on Saturdays and Sundays as well. The closest locations we have here to Homestead are in Florida City, their City Hall, as well as the Coral Reef Branch Library. Thank you, Mayor Bell. Thank you very much.
Just make a clarification. Councilwoman Sierra mentioned that more than one council member attended the meeting. This meeting was advertised as a public meeting, just for people in the, watching TV.
Right. Thank you. Councilwoman Waldman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've had several phone calls recently about the lighting on North Canal Drive. There are some areas, Mr. Shahada, that are very, very, very dark. So I would appreciate it if Julio could go out and take a look. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but I've traveled it. I travel it every day, several times a day, and in the evening, and it is dark in several areas, very dark, especially with all the things that are going on there. And also the intersection of 8th Street and Kingman, when you are going west on 8th Street, that traffic light right there by the new Walgreens and CVS, when you're making a left-hand turn on Kingman, it's so hard to explain, but there's a little bumper type thing that comes out, whereas the people that are exiting the turnpike turn on that little street, and then there's only one street to make one lane of traffic to make the left-hand turn in. It's that bumper, it's that little cement, Robert, you know what I'm talking about, that little cement thing, I don't know the terminology of it, but you can't see it. I mean, and I see so many people run over top of it, and especially at nighttime, it needs to be painted, or some blinkers put on there, or something. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Janice?
Yes, it's concrete, yes.
Actually, I do, and this was brought to our attention, and so Sherry is talking to them about it. And I also want to tell you that there's going to be construction starting there very soon. To have, if you travel in Kingman North to make a left on Campbell Drive, there's going to be 2 lanes left and 1 lane right. So there's going to be more construction, but definitely in terms of reflectors,
we need to just do something for now. It's very dangerous, very dangerous.
The lights, is that for the new construction area, 328?
Yes, part of it.
Actually, it's going to be funded by half a penny sales tax. Because it's a new project. Julio, please give an update.
Yes, and we have the cost estimates already for the lighting there, and soon we'll be contracting that out to put it in place.
It's like night and day to go down Palm Coast and go down North Canal Drive.
It will have the lighting. It will be similar to what's on the new area of Campbell Drive right now. Okay. It'll be exactly the same.
But for the urgent matter, though, that little turn is very dangerous, very dangerous. I just wanted to thank Fran Schwartz and all her helpers that put together the benefit spaghetti dinner for Patty Sullivan. It was really nice. I mean, it was so put together, and food was delicious, and I know that Patty appreciates everything that is done for her always, and best wishes to Patty. This weekend was the 40th anniversary birthday of Biscayne National Park, and there were things going on for 3 days, and that was a lot of fun. Last week we had our annual meeting for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and at that time we had the presentation of the college and the amendment, and just lots of stuff. It was so much fun, and I was there with a lot of people, and Homestead was recognized. And Mayor Bell, thank you for signing the proclamation. There are many. The directors of the board invited all the mayors of the municipalities to join in with a proclamation for customer service for Dade County, and it was really nice that Homestead was recognized that way. October 24th, they're having a Seminole Theater party to celebrate the construction of Seminole Theater. If you go by there, you'll see that they're working on it, and it's also an opportunity to see the Main Street Cafe, because it's going to be, they're going to be hosting that event. And I was over there the other day, and they've come along. They've really come along. They've changed it. It's kind of different to walk in, because I'm used to the old Main Street Cafe, but it looks really nice, very, very nice. And on a sad note, as you know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this will be my last meeting to remind everybody to get their checkups, though I'll keep doing it throughout the year. But we lost a dear friend, and that was Dr. Raffles. He was a plastic surgeon and a hand surgeon, and he helped so many women deal with their breast cancers and making them whole again. And it didn't matter, it just didn't matter what their economic means were. I mean, he always took care of them and always made sure that his door and his heart was open, and he helped so many children with their cleft palates and people that just didn't have the money to do things, and he was just a friend to everyone. But he lost his battle with cancer at 43 years old, and I love him and I'll miss him dearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Waldman. Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also like to thank Fran and all of her volunteers for a great benefit that they put on for Patty, and Mayor Bell for entertaining us with her tambourine up there. Thank you to everybody for that. No secrets. Tomorrow I'll be principal for a day at Laura C. Saunders Elementary School, so I hope all the kids behave, because I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm looking forward to it, as I haven't been to an elementary school in a long, long time, so I'm looking forward to that. The Community Image Advisory Board will have their next meeting, not on the normal day of Tuesday, because it will be a Veterans Day, but it will be on that Wednesday, and I believe it's November the 13th. Or 12th, excuse me, at 8:30 a.m. here in the council chambers instead of on Tuesday. It's just going to be moved back one day to Wednesday. We had our first meeting about a week and a half ago, and it was good. We've got some good ideas. We broke up into some committees, and at our next meeting, our guest speaker is going to be Mr. Dan Wick from the CRA to give us some direction and answer some questions on what the CRA can help us with downtown. So looking forward to that. The Butterfly Co-op, which is a nonprofit organization here in town that runs a preschool for children, is going to be holding a spaghetti dinner on November the 6th at the Villages Clubhouse, and also they're going to have a silent auction with many items, and one of the highlighted items, if somebody wants to come bid on it, will be a skydive. So if anybody feels like they need to jump out of the plane, you can get one at a good price. With a parachute, though. A couple quick questions. Julio, how are we doing with Kingman Road and our little lake that forms on us out there? I know the rainy season is leaving us, and we'd spoken about this several times, but I haven't seen anything resolving the problem.
Correct, and we've been discussing back and forth with them regarding that, and we should have a proposal from them soon in terms of what to do there, that will solve the problem. We just don't want to put something there that's not going to work.
Coming up on the dry season, I don't want it to be forgotten. And next we get into
definitely it's not.
Thank you. And then this may come to the chief, and then he can pass it on to code enforcement and whoever. I've gotten a lot of complaints about Casavanas and their little coffee window over there, especially now that we've had them. I guess it was the city that asked them to border off the vacant lot where everybody was parking. But cars continuously park there where people can't make the turn to come around the coffee window in the parking lot there. Anybody that goes there will be able to see there's always at least one car parked in the no parking zone. It's clearly marked. So that's one thing. And then the second phase of that we need to address with that business is that we need to get some trash receptacles out there, because unfortunately people are drinking their little shots of coffee and throwing their coffee cups on the ground.
It's very windy on that.
And it is very windy.
Things blow away.
Yeah, so I guess maybe if we could pass that on to Captain Chong or Captain Washington and have them maybe go out and pay a friendly visit. But that parking lot has almost become a hazard to people that try to go through there. So thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say, Vice Mayor, I was at Laura Saunders distributing trees for Earth Day, and bring some good jokes, some good entertainment material, because kids that age just don't have a long attention span. But aside from that, I attended Mercy House, which is a house for pregnant teens who have nowhere else to go. They had their open house this past week. Right now they only have 2 clients, and it's always good to go to organizations like that to truly, the services that they give are to women or to girls, actually teens, that have nowhere else to go. And so to feel that, I can't imagine feeling that kind of desperation. And so to know that there's a safe house, which is what they call it, a safe house like that. And typically when you have non-for-profits and organizations, because of lack of funding, they tend to be very skimped on the luxury items. Everything's very basic. But this organization has done everything first class. The tutors, there's a woman called the mom of the house teaching them how to clean, how to cook, all these things to prepare them, and obviously to also address the issue that got them there in the first place so that they will not repeat that in that kind of situation. So I was very inspired. I hope to continue to bring you good news from Mercy House as they continue to open up to more clientele. Vice Mayor, I have to apologize to you. I was not able to make the HYPE event. Had a lot of things to do that day, and unfortunately the time ran out, but I did want to be there, and I'll try to make your next event, but I apologize for not being there. This past week I also attended the State of the City address for Palmetto Bay, and it was good to see. It was good to just be there as not a participant, but just to hear the mayor there. And from that, we actually have a resident of the city of Homestead. His first name is Efren, and I can't remember his last name, Audelia. Efren Nunez, who's a resident of the city of Homestead. And afterwards, he just was so excited to see, actually the mayor went as well, excited to see us, and he has so many ideas about art in public places. So what I'm going to do, I did tell him I was going to forward it to the mayor, but I'm actually also going to forward it to the vice mayor, and maybe he can be part of your beautification.
He's actually, I've got to call him this week, and I was speaking with Mr. Martinez about we're going to invite him down to be the second half of our meeting at the next CIAB.
He's motivated, he's energized, and whatever he's learned at Palmetto Bay, he's more than willing to come down here and share it with us. So that'll be exciting to hear what comes from that. And then lastly, I just want to say happy birthday to Councilwoman Sierra, who I don't know how young she turned yesterday, but yesterday was her birthday.
We have a lot of birthdays here. We have Councilwoman Sierra's birthday was yesterday. Tim's birthday is coming up next week. When is your birthday? What day? The 30th. And then Wendy's birthday is coming up on the 29th. And then Judy's birthday is on the 31st. Right? So, yeah, and my anniversary. So we're all in October. So happy everything to everybody on this council. Did you want to mention HYPE before we turn it over to Councilman McCormick?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, yesterday we did have a first, hopefully, annual event over at the Harrisfield Pavilion, which was HYPE, which was kind of a gathering of the local high school kids and an opportunity for them to come out and see some organizations that they can do their volunteer work at. Unfortunately, the crowds weren't what we were hoping for, but it's our first event, and we're going to build off of that and make it bigger and better next year. And then one other thing I forgot to mention, I did have it written down, is the Mayor's Youth Council is going to be looking for some businesses, one, to donate, and two, where we may set up donation stands, as we're going to try to do a food drive to help the needy people of the surrounding area for the Christmas holidays period. So if anybody's interested or could come up with a spot where we could drop off food and then collect it as we go along, we certainly do need it and would appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilman McCormick?
Yes, thank you. To any city residents that's interested, the Miami-Dade Police Department is hiring, and for more information, you can go on www.miamidade.gov/jobs. And just came from Commissioner Moss' office, so I think that anybody who's really interested in being a police officer, it'd be a good start for you. Also, I'm having a town hall meeting in the Southwest section, November the 6th, starting at 6 p.m. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. here in the council chamber, we have a Southwest master plan meeting. So anyone who's interested or trying to know what's going on in the Southwest or the future plans for the Southwest, you can come out and see what we have going on in the meeting to give your suggestions and also any input, insight that you have. I've been into communications with Dennis Moss, and I'm very, very happy that he's supportive of what's going on in the Southwest section. I think him and Mr. Dan, we had a discussion about meeting today also about some things, and he's very, very supportive of what's going on. So I'd like to say thank you to Commissioner Moss, and that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you very much, Councilman McCormick. Councilman Nelson?
Thank you, Mayor. A little over a week ago, I had lunch at the City of Homestead's Utilities Department where they announced the Employee of the Year, who was Leonard Cunningham. He's been an employee of the city for 16 years, and he was the one that they call when there's ever trouble. He has a 98% come-in ratio.
Wow.
When there's trouble after hours. That was excellent. And Had dinner at the Troop 69 Spaghetti Dinner a little over a week ago. Very nice, a lot of people there I talked with. And also I want to thank everyone for putting on a great event for Patty. It was real nice. I heard you won the basket.
I won the basket and the acupuncture.
Good for you. Had dinner the other night with Frank Castro. He's the one doing the home makeover. He said it's on schedule, and it looks like before Thanksgiving it'll be done. I want to thank Frankie for doing this. He's a good friend of mine. My wife cooked dinner at the house. It was real good. She cooks good Latin food. Tomorrow, I'm going to be principal of the day. I'm sure all my ex-principals would be shocked. I'm going to be at Campbell Drive Elementary School, and Councilwoman Sierra is going to be at Homestead Senior High School.
I did that last year.
And you're doing it too, I believe?
I'm going to MacArthur South.
Good deal. This weekend is, we all will be out of town. Most of us will be out of town for the
Advanced Institute for Municipal Elected Officials.
There you go. But the City of Homestead will be putting on Family Fall Fest with Homestead Merchants Association this Saturday, the 25th, from 6 to midnight with music from Music Depot. They're going to have a lot of kids, and then I think it's at either 9 or 10, they're going to have a nice band come on, a professional band at Losner Park. I'll ask them afterwards. And I do believe that is it.
Thank you very much. A lot has been mentioned of what I attended, but let me tell you, I was very pleased to see the turnout for the dinner for Patty Sullivan. She's our assistant, and everybody, many of you know that Patty's fighting cancer, and she's fighting it quite valiantly, I must say. And we raised a lot of money for her that evening. I think it was upwards of $800. So that really helps Patty a lot. And she was actually back to work today, so that's very exciting to see her back. And also, I want to welcome Lillian Delgado back from maternity leave. She's our public information officer, so we're really glad to have her back, as well as Patty. So congratulations and we're always glad to see Patty back. Also, we've been doing our Relay for Life activities, and last Thursday we had the bake sale, and I know I baked chocolate brownies with chocolate fudge icing. So I'll make sure everybody knows the next time we do the bake sale. I actually was very hard to bring them here, but we did. And then this past Saturday was the Relay for Life car wash. So we're really progressing very well. And this mayor and council were all very involved in the relay. And I'm the honorary chair. And I say honorary because Christy Rivas does all the work. Christy Rivas Thompson, she really does all the work. So when they say honorary, it's definitely honorary. So thank you very much, Christy. And the reason why we weren't able to make the luncheon is because we were attending golf at the military. We were playing golf, although I won't tell you how we were playing, at the Military Affairs Committee golf tournament, which is a great fundraiser for the Military Affairs Committee, which I've been a part of for many, many, many years. There were 19 teams this year, and I won't tell you what place we came in out of 19, because Wendy will kill me. So it wasn't good. So also we attended a check presentation ceremony for Homestead Middle School presented by our representative Juan Zapata, and they presented a nice check to Homestead Middle School, and they were very, very appreciative as well as they need it. Also, I went to Miami-Dade College this past week and presented 2 proclamations on behalf of the college and CHI on behalf of Hispanic AIDS Awareness Day, to make the Hispanic community very, very aware of AIDS, because it seems to be growing very rapidly within the Hispanic community. And while I was there, I also got to greet the Chinese delegation who are there at Miami-Dade College learning about air traffic control. So I was able to give a Homestead greeting to the Chinese delegation, which was pretty exciting. And they speak Mandarin, by the way. So that was really neat. I also went and stopped by the Community Partnership for the Homeless, was celebrating their 10th anniversary. They have a beautiful facility out there right over by the Homestead Air Force Base. And let me tell you, these homeless have a beautiful home out there with Community Partnership for the Homeless. They're very well cared for, and they're taught skills and trades
and it's just very, very well done. And then I also attended and gave a proclamation to the Haitian Organization of Women on behalf of their Lights On After School, trying to really promote after-school tutoring and after-school programs within the community to be able to help the kids and very often help the disadvantaged youth in order to help them raise up in school and their school level. So it's called Lights On After School, keeping those lights on. Also attended the grand opening of Metro Mercy House, and I learned something very interesting. The city of Homestead has the Biggest Loser program, and the nutritionists for our Biggest Loser program in the city of Homestead are also the nutritionists for Metro Mercy House, and they create the menus for Metro Mercy House so that the girls there have a very good balanced diet. So I was pretty pleased that. And also in my spare time I went and had a tour of the Dade Juvenile Residential Facility, which is towards the Keys. And let me tell you, this is a pretty interesting facility, and there's a full-time school that's run in there for these youth, computer skills, so that when they leave there, they have some skills to go with them. So it's been a pretty busy couple of weeks, but it's been good. I just asked Mr. Shahada for an update on the cameras, and he gave me an update today that we still have a lot more to progress as far as getting the cameras put up at the lights. And I really wanted to know, because not only myself, but many others, I just made a turn out of here just yesterday, made a left-hand turn, and I had to slam on my brakes because two people ran the red light, and I was this close to being hit, and they were not about to stop. So we need to get those cameras put up. Do you have an idea about how long, Mr. Shahad? I know you gave me the delay, the reason for the delays.
Mayor, council members, the contract, we agreed to do all the business terms. It's just being reviewed by legal. Actually, it's in their court, and tomorrow they're going to ship it to us with all our comments incorporated. Of course, we have to make sure all our comments are incorporated, our attorney's comments.
Okay.
And we just will execute the contract and start the engineering phase for evaluation and installation of cameras.
Very good. And one last item. I had the Waterstone School civics class come and visit me just a couple weeks ago. In fact, Sarah from the News Leader came and actually wrote a really good story on them. And they came and presented with their teacher a book of letters thanking me for talking to the class. And I'm going to put the letters out here and make them available. These kids, these are hysterical. One of the kids commented that I wasn't so bad, I was kind of funny, and said that, but when they went into my office, it was a little bit messy though, but nobody's perfect. And then one of them was, the mayor, she has a face you can trust, and these are coming from kids, and they are hysterical. So we had a really good laugh reading all these letters, and so I'm going to bring them out and make them available. Mr. Manager, you're chomping at the bit over there.
Council members, since you mentioned Lillian Delgado coming back, I can tell you there's a member of my staff. She's so excited, so happy to see Lillian back.
Lauren, it's Lauren.
Exactly. Lauren, can you stand up, please? Lauren did an outstanding job, taking that responsibility amongst others. So
yes, it's been very stressful, I know.
And I also want to say, Robert Landon has something scary to announce, so I turn it to Robert.
Just a real quick plug. Parks, Recreation, and Maintenance Services having our Boo Bash Trunk or Treat, and just want to remind everybody that it's a really fun event. Kids that come out and trick-or-treat in a safe environment. It's Harrisfield Pavilion. $5. We got bounce houses. We're going to have face paint and pictures with the children. We're still looking for anybody that's a business owner that would like to come out and bring a trunk to let the kids treat out of. We just need your candy and to show up, so I just wanted to let you know. And if you could give us a call at 305-224-4570, and it's on Halloween night from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. With no more business to attend to, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.